before these organized attacks happened. My mom used to call me the only beautiful flower in the Garden of Eden. As of my dad, he used to call me the only gold shining armor for Prince Harry, meaning I was his only princess. A quiet, humble, peaceful home is where I lived till 14 years. When I lost my parents in a car accident. My parents were Russians that came to UK seeking for asylum, caused by some corrupt officials who were to harm my parents for fear to expose them. Hence a forced exile. And our family was among the rich ones that existed in Russia. Dad and Mom vowed never to ever speak Slavic language anymore, and even they decided never to teach me our native language. They did that to completely forget about their past and start a new life of deception in England as their new country. England is full of life, and the way the English treasured their queen up to now never ceases to amaze me. My parents were fond of England, and when I was born, they named me Princess Britain, the treasured one, as my slogan. And I was the joy that healed their wounds. Plus this strongly meant I was British by birth and completely sealing me off of any Russian attachment. One day I was at school when the maid picked me up, which had never happened throughout my elementary and high school. Dad or Mom had to come for their princess. I was scared that day. Plus the time of leaving school was too early. I tried to resist, but the maid was accompanied with 2 police officers who convinced me to go along. A few hours later, it was all over the TV, breaking news of a man with his wife shot and then ran into a terrible accident, rolling them down deep in the valley, mounting into a blazing fire. Tears rolled over my sweet cheeks. I became unbearable. I went into the escape routes that my parents showed me in case of emergency, like thieves, which I had to use. But good enough, the maid knew all about them. All along, I thought we were all British. But it became so hot and dark to handle when I found out that my parents have been on run from the corrupt officials in Russia, who could not allow my parents leave since they knew too much. And these men injected too much money to track my parents down. Assembling my parents' body parts into whole human beings was never going to happen. Hence I was left with one option: to burn them up and remain with the ashes. It was the only way I would still feel them close to me. Plus I was told they would still listen to me and provide solutions to any hindrance. It's too pity that I was so innocent at that age of 14 years, can you imagine? Yet many children of that age are so sensitive in unbelievable spheres, especially in developed countries. After all that tragedy, I could no longer boast as a princess before my parents, who used to pamper me with lots of love. A few blocks neighborhood took me up, and I left the house for good, where I grew up. the precious memories and beautiful time we had as a family. I saw them fading as I left the premises. The new family composed of 2 sons. One who was 10 and the other who was at university, but much older than me. And plus their mother and father too. They took me up as a daughter they couldn't have, and said with time, my wounds would heal. After a year and a half into my new life, things were still smooth. Although their elder son had made a few advances towards me, with sweet-coated words. But I kept reminding him of being an example to his little brother and me his sister, not to mess up the family. That aside, a lawyer I knew as my parents' best friend located me up, and he presented my parents' will before us. I thought the long-awaited deal finally had landed. But unfortunately I had to make 20 years for my fortune to light up. He only left me with his contact details. Now that you know about my new life, my will, restrictions, and untimed sexual feelings from my elder brother, what do you think happened next in episode 2? Just a few tips. Expect much tougher times like my lost sight, virginity, and much more, only on this channel. Why not? Core Image.